Alright, boys and girls out there in Gamerland, this is your good friend Puppy, and I would like to, let's start over a little bit. I've recently decided to start doing games, critiquing games, talking about games and such, and throwing them up on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever else I felt like throwing them up on. So this is going to be my first one. It's a game called World of Tanks. I'm quite literally in love with this game right now. It's a game based off historical vehicles from World War I, World War II, including prototypes of vehicles that were never truly mass-produced. Few things about the game is this background is not the game's original background. I need to point that out. This game allows modding, not in the game sense of you mod in the vehicles and such do better. No, modding is in skins, layouts, stuff like that. So as I'm doing the videos, especially for World of Tanks, a lot of things are not going to be stock. Like this background of Tank Girl. This is actually Tank Girl from Tank Girl movie, Tank Girl comic book series. I think I know where this picture is from, but I'm not sure, but I do know it's Tank Girl. Alright, let's get into the game a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on. Alright. One thing I do like about this game is you do not need the fastest, most powerful computer in the world to play it. As you can see, that took quite a bit of time for it to download and do all its fun stuff now. Once again, my hanger is also something else that I've modified. This is not the standard hanger. Trust me, it is not. This was a hanger I found lying around and I quite enjoyed. Also, the people you see up here, their faces, their icons, I should say, are not the original icons either. That is a mod that I myself have been working on. It's not quite done, but it works. Alright, so let's go through the basics here. I'll go to a light tank. You start off with a light tank. This is not the light tank you start off with. This is a slightly better version. In this game, you go through tiers, and well, light tanks are very used through all of the tiers. The only thing you do not see in the lower tiers are the heavy tanks. Now, as I said before, this game is heavy on modding. While I was going through the I want to say chat room, but it's not a chat room. You guys know what I'm talking about. Through the forums. That's what I was looking for, forums. And I actually found this skin for a T-57 self-propelled gun floating around, and I thought, hey, that would be a fun skin to play on. Also makes the enemy much easier to spot for me. Alright, so let's go into how the game itself works. Once you pick your tank, and my personal favorite is the T2 medium tank, because I'm only fighting in tier 2 battles right now. I have not gotten a skin for it because I quite enjoy the way the stock is. Now, when you pick your tank, you go through battles and you gain experience to research. Now, the reason I have 0 experience on this tank is not because I never play it. That's because for my research, I have gotten everything for him. Now, when you start researching, you get the basics up here. And one thing I like about this game is they're not just throwing up guns with stats. They actually give you characteristics of the actual vehicle. Now, this 20% chance on fire on impact is just for the game. But the 450 weights in kilograms, that's real. The 330 engine power, that was real. It only kicked out 330 horsepower, but for game terms they call it engine power. But they do add the horsepower at the bottom. Now everything is like that. This one gives you the armor. And when it says 22, that's the armor that it has for the game. Okay, for the turret it really doesn't give you much. But for the overall tank itself, this is the fun part. The development of this experimental medium tank was carried out from 1930 to 1932. However, this model never entered serial production. It gives you real historical facts about every vehicle in the game. I could go to my T-57 and do the exact same thing. Right click on the T-57, view characteristics, an experimental SPG, which stands for self-propelled gun, Designed on the basis of the M3A3, the T-57 was developed and tested through the fall of 1942, but was never mass-produced. One thing you will find about the early levels is a lot of them are they were all experimental types, because even in the early days of tanks, experimentals were all you would get. Now, when you start this game, you get a choice of 3 different types of vehicles. Let me get to all of them. The first one is this little Russian one that I could get for free. See, cost me nothing. But I never really liked the Russian vehicles, but here's a little bit about it. The first Soviet tank adopted for serial production with 959 vehicles produced from 1928 through 1931. Gives you some stats about it, the configuration, which is how you get it stock, you can upgrade from that, and the crew, you get a commander and driver. Bigger crews, I have found out, are kind of better. And then you get all of the Russian vehicles through here with their different types and different tiers. Now let's go into how you tell the type. Medium tank, heavy tank, and if a light tank is there, it'll say light tank. Now these little numbers up in the corner, that's the tier that you're on. That's the tier right there, up in the left corner. Alright, now let's see if I can find you the American or German version. Okay, this is the German starting tank. The light tank lick tractor. I call it the LOL tractor, and a lot of the guys in the games apparently call it LOL tractor as well. It's just kind of a funny little tank. It's cute to see cruising around and stuff. It's just a cute tank, but doesn't do much. Although it does have the most powerful gun to start off with, it is the least maneuverable and the easiest to track down. Now, I like to stick with the American versions, just because they seem a little bit more better built. I do own an SPG, by the way. That's still sponsored by someone. Sorry, I got into the game a little bit trying to figure out why I didn't own that vehicle, and then it occurred to me it was German. Now, the American light tank, the T1 Cunningham, is not the fastest, but it is the most well-balanced out of the other tanks. The T1 Cunningham, and when I first got the T1 Cunningham, it took me about 2 hours to get all of the upgrades for it. You know what, I'll buy a T1 Cunningham just to show you a little bit about it, and I may actually do a battle with a T1. Alright, so, my T1 Cunningham did get a skin because I was that much in love with it when I first started. Where are you? Alright, here's my T1 Cunningham. Okay, and you also need to point out, down here, this little symbol of a tank with a golden thing around it, that means elite. Your tank becomes elite when you upgrade and research all of the possible skills for it. And see, look, my T1 Cunningham has everything, and I can accelerate crew training, which means it uses the points to upgrade crew training. There we go. Now, another thing I like to point out about this game is it is an MMO at heart. Oh, I need to buy ammunition apparently. Don't see why I need to buy ammunition when it's free. Anyway, it is an MMO at heart, so part of the allowing you to mod the skins is to give it a little bit more of an MMO feeling. Now, one thing I like about this game is if I were to buy the upgraded turret, which moves a little slower but I get better armor, it changes the physical appearance of the turret and changes the skin of the turret, but will not damage the skin that you throw on there. Same thing with the gun, which apparently I still own all of them. I'll throw the 37 Browning automatic, semi-automatic on there, and I'll get that. But actually I like to use the 20mm. It's a little bit more fun to play with. Yeah, if I really wanted to, I'd go through and buy all this equipment, which I might just to go through a battle with you, but I'm actually not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play with my... actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off, and I'll go through, because my SPG is an artillery piece. In this game, they're called arties. I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to play a battle in 3 different videos of a light tank, a medium tank, artillery, and if anybody requests that I do it, I could also play a anti-tank vehicle, which I do own one. It's not my favorite vehicle, but I own it just to say I own one of every 4 types. There's actually 5 types of vehicles: light tank, medium tank, heavy tank, SPG, anti-tank vehicle. I do not own a heavy tank yet because I'm not quite high enough. I'll show you the tech tree for Americans, because I'm playing Americans. And as you can see, I'm down to tier 3 on all of the possible vehicles, but it takes tier 5 to get heavy anything, which all I can get is T1 heavy and work my way down. Anyway, so I gave you a quick overview of the game. Oh, I guess I better add one thing. Not only do you level up your research to buy new vehicles, you also have to level up your crew, and every crew member does something different. This is my driver. See, driver, medium tank, T2, medium, 67%. Now, that 67% is their efficiency at their job. You start off with 50% unless you want to throw down some cash for it, but I've leveled them up to 61, 62%. And the higher percentage, the better they are at their job. And trust me, when you hit about 60%, they're getting pretty good. Also, what I meant by spending some cash is much like most free MMOs, to get anything super good right off the back, you gotta buy gold. Buy gold, it sends you to a website, it's like $6.25, you can get it. Another downside of this game, and this game could really kill it for some people, you cannot group with a friend unless you have a premium account. I'll show you exactly what it says. Create platoon. Only premium account members can create a platoon. Now, the upside for this also, if you have a friend that's a premium account member or somebody else who's willing to dish out cash, they can invite you to the group. But personally, I don't feel like I need it. I get in, I run into people, I have a good time. Every battle's unique. Right now, logged on the American server, there are 3,829 people logged on with 96 battles going. I'm actually kind of shocked. That's really low. It's the lowest I've ever seen it. Typically, at this time of night, I'm seeing 200 battles going with around 6,000 people logged on. So there might be something going on. Oh, the server was just down for maintenance, so that's probably why there's so few people on. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this short now. It's been 12 minutes, and I'll post combat videos here in a little bit. So everybody have a good night, and you'll see videos later. This is Puppy signing off.